Well, hey guys, in today's video, I'm going to be giving you my tips for applying sunscreen when you wear a full face of makeup. This is a really challenging area, and I have actually a hard time advising you guys on what is best to do, but I will give you these kind of overriding tips and suggestions, and hopefully this will help you. In order for sunscreen to be doing anything for you, you have to reapply it. Regardless of what you plan to do for the day, it needs to be reapplied because the oils from our skin and the sweat result in loss of the protection that sunscreen is affording you. And so when you're outside, you need to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours in order to adequately protect your skin from the sun. But you also need to reapply sunscreen during the day when you're not outside to protect you from sun that comes in through window glass and sun that you may be exposed to just by going in and out. UVA that comes through the window is responsible for a lot of photoaging and for skin cancer risk. Especially if you wake up early, apply it early because you're getting ready early in the morning, and then by the time you actually are in situations where you really need it, it's already gone. But if you wear makeup, it's understandable that it's difficult to put sunscreen on over the makeup. It's obviously going to smear it around and mess things up, and so that's really frustrating. So what should you do? I suggest starting your day with a high SPF, greater than 50. And the reason for this is that we know actually that higher SPF, we found out, is actually better than lower SPFs because of the way people apply sunscreen. They don't apply enough to actually get to the SPF on the label. So if you start out with a really high SPF sunscreen, it will obviously start to wear off during the day, but at least by the time you get to midday, if you started with an SPF, say of 70, midday, everything that's worn off, you might actually be still sitting at an SPF of 30. So that is a strategy that I would suggest employing, is to actually go higher. I'll put the reference down below in the description box of the paper, because I know for many years we've always said higher than 30 really doesn't make a difference, higher than 50 doesn't really make a difference, but we've now found that it actually does make a difference in real-time use. So I would suggest that. I would suggest using a water-resistant sunscreen as well. That way, as you sweat throughout the day, it's a little bit more hardy in terms of setting up. Make sure you apply it to all surfaces of the head and neck that are going to be exposed, as well as to any other sun-exposed areas on the body like your arms and your hands. Don't forget your eyes or around the ears. We have a leaf blower outside. I apologize, but I'm going to keep going. Don't forget your ears, your eyes, the upper lip, the neck. Don't forget those areas. Allow it to fully set up on the skin. Allow it to fully set up and dry. Then, once it's done that and it's set up, I suggest choosing makeup that has sunscreen in it. Now, adding sunscreen on top of sunscreen, it doesn't give you higher SPF. I want to be clear on that. So if you have an SPF of 30 sunscreen on and you add a makeup that has SPF 15, that's not SPF 45. But the reason that I recommend choosing makeup that has sunscreen in it is that as you apply the makeup, that base layer that you have is going to get disturbed and disrupted with applying the makeup. Patting in, blending out, you're removing sunscreen with makeup application. So at least if you replace what you're taking off with sunscreen, if that makes sense, then it kind of helps with that. Then as far as reapplying, as I said, it's really important to reapply sunscreen even when you're not outside. You can try a sunscreen powder, a mineral powder. You guys know I personally really like the Color Science powder, Sunforgettable powder. I think it looks great, but an affordable one that I think is actually pretty competitive is by Derma E. They make a really good one. So, you know, you certainly can dust that on over the makeup throughout the day, and that will help also and kind of degrease and make the skin look less shiny. But unfortunately, it's not the most reliable way because you're just putting little sprinkles of sun protection. You're not getting that good even layer. So it's not ideal, it's not perfect, but it is something that you certainly can reach for. That plus reapplying and touching up makeup that has sunscreen in it, you know, it's kind of helping. You also can choose a sunscreen spray. A lot of people who wear makeup like this. They find that it kind of helps the makeup set up better. And like powder, spray is not as reliable as creams or lotions as far as the layer of protection that they afford, but they can certainly be helpful. And ideally, you would spray them into your hand and then pat them into your face. But I do know that a lot of people actually just spray them on the face. If you do that, just make sure that you're doing it in a location that's not windy. That way the sunscreen doesn't end up in the air, it ends up on your skin. Don't inhale the sunscreen spray or get it in your eyes or your mouth. We don't know about the safety of that, and it obviously can cause a lot of irritation in your eyes. And then try and pat it into the skin at least, and don't forget to get it around your eyes as well. So that's another tool that you can incorporate into your daytime routine to get that reapplication on. But sunscreen is never enough. So beyond those tips, the other thing that you have to do is get yourself a sun hat. I love mine from Coolie Bar. I wear it all the time, and that will offer your face really good protection, especially when you are walking from your car to go in, you know, to a building. So that's really helpful. And then of course, sunglasses are key, not only for protecting the skin around your eyes, which is prone to sun damage, leading to crow's feet, and skin cancers on the eyelids are super common, but also your eyes. Sunscreen's not going to protect your eyes, so you need to wear sunglasses, so that'll help as well. So I'll list those down below, but that's actually really important regardless of if you wear makeup or not. It's super important. You also want to avoid being outdoors when the sun is at its peak. That's typically around midday, but it varies depending on where you live in the world. A good way to gauge that is to look at something called the UV index. The UV index kind of gives you a snapshot of the intensity of UVB and your risk of sunburn. But if the UV index is low, don't let that mislead you into thinking that you don't need to protect your skin from the sun, because the UV index only is giving you a risk of the sun's risk of burning, the UVB part. But remember, a big part of sun is UVA. Those are the rays that penetrate really deeply into the skin and cause destruction of collagen. That is not captured in the UV index, and even when the UV index is low, that's still something that your skin is exposed to and you need to protect your skin from. And that includes when you're indoors. It's that UVA that will actually penetrate through window glass. And this is important for not only reducing photoaging and skin cancer risk, but a lot of skin diseases are sensitive to UVA, specifically the non-burning rays, and can flare. Melasma, diseases of hyperpigmentation, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. I hope these tips were helpful to you guys. You know, I always try and encourage you all to go makeup free, but I realize that makeup is something that people enjoy doing. It's like a hobby and, you know, kind of self-care, and people like it, and they do it, you know, not because they feel bad about themselves and they're trying to feel better, but because they truly enjoy it. So I recognize that fully. And I also recognize that a lot of you work in professions where you have to wear makeup as part of your occupation. But I hope this video is helpful to you guys. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.